of last year's medalists are back. Well, I guess, Dan, the New Zealand twin sisters have travelled just about as far as anybody to come to these World Championships. It's quite interesting how they keep in touch with the world of rowing in the early part of the season on the internet, just to see how things are, and then come across for Lucerne and check things out, and they are very much the favourites.
They're the favourites. They are doubling up here. They're rowing in the quadruple scull as well, but that got knocked out of the final. So here they are now in their favourite boat in the double scull. And look at them go. They're already there, moving out into the lead. They're a very, very strong, powerful combination. They sit low in the boat. They're not very tall, but they sit low in the boat, and they really do row perfectly together. It is extraordinary how twins in pairs and doubles do work so well together. It's, I suppose, partly mental. They understand each other, but physiologically, they are a perfect match. And here they are. They're moving out in front. The big question here is, can Katrin Boron, the greatest rower, sculler in the world, most medalled of all ever, she's back after a baby, and she is on the campaign now to try and achieve a gold medal next year in Athens. So this is very much part of her campaign.
Yes, it hasn't looked throughout the World Cup season as if it was a partnership made in heaven, but there's no doubt they've been getting better. They're two from the top of the picture. You can see in that sort of brownie boat there, just about in second place at the moment, behind the New Zealanders who have made the most positive start. And in between that pair in lane 3, watch out for Larissa Merck and Irina Fedotova. Irina Fedotova, of course, the last Russian to win the women's single sculls, and they're worthy of notice. And then Rebecca Romero and Debbie Flood, good to see them up in 4th place and maintaining contact.
Italy are interesting. Italy, they're on their home waters. Last year they were gold medalists in the under-23 championships and then came in to get the 3rd place in the senior event. Wonderful, wonderful first year for them. Here the pressure's on to see if they can repeat that at home, but they are at the moment just trailing in 5th place.
Yes, it'll be a little different and probably a lot harder for them this year around. When they got into the final, they were the first Italian women's double to make a final, I think, for more than a decade. So it was quite some achievement. But here are the 23-year-old New Zealanders from North Island, the East Coast, where the family have a fruit orchard, and coached by Dick Tonks. They certainly don't look as if they've gone backwards in the last 12 months.
No, they're long, aren't they? They reach a long way forward. They do take long strokes, but it does look quite heavy. It's very muscly the way that they row it. But they do just drive the legs, and then sitting on the backstop, they then bring the body into play and finish off the stroke. Whereas the other scullers around them, Germany and Russia, tend to sit upright more and drive the legs and coordinate the stroke more effectively, perhaps. But there's no denying the power of this New Zealand pair, and you can see it doesn't check the boat the way they row. They just sit there. Look at the bow there. She's sitting there driving the leg, and she gets onto the backstop. You'd call that bum shoving, perhaps, but she is so powerful. She pushes it well through the middle of the stroke there, and they finish off very, very strongly with a long finish.
Yeah, that was Georgina in the bow and Caroline in the stroke seat, and they've got 3/4 of a length over Germany there. Very close between Great Britain and Russia. Not much between those two, vying for 3rd place. And then going across the line there, Italy and Australia, the two outside lanes, the outsiders for today's race, and a good few seconds off the pace, as you can see now. What about the Germans then? Boron, well, she's just amazing, isn't she? She's 33 now, but she is just such an influence in any boat.
Look how long she is. You see her stretching forward there, taking long strokes. They're about 2 strokes a minute lower, and they are pushing hard there on that lane there, lane 2.
Russia very much there as well. Merck and Fedotova, they're a very experienced double scull partnership, but look at the distance that the front two are putting between them and the Russians now.
And look at the pressure, though, that Germany is now putting on the New Zealand double. New Zealand likes to get out in front, and no one really has been able in the last year or so to be able to put pressure on them, but certainly Boron, with her experience, her tough competitiveness, she's the one to do it. And here, Italy, up there on lane 1, the youngsters there putting up a very good effort there, but now they're not going to get back on terms now with the two leaders.
Yeah, just interesting. Gabriella Praschelli in the stroke seat there, the 21-year-old who was actually born in South Africa. But those two, as you say, Dan, are well out of it now. It's between New Zealand, Germany and Russia at the moment in the bronze medal position.
New Zealand, they've responded to the challenge. They've gone up to 36 strokes a minute now. They felt the pressure coming on from Germany and they have responded and they have moved away again. Great reaction there. Far last 500 metres, but Germany coming again.
The British vying with the Russians there for third place, and this is a terrific performance from Rebecca Romero and Debbie Flood. Remembering, Dan, that Rebecca had that gastric bug in Lucerne, which really disrupted some of her season. Now, if they could get a medal here, this would be a fantastic performance, because that British women's pairs medal that we saw earlier on was only the second gold medal in open weight history, wasn't it, for the British?
Absolutely, and it was such after the disappointment of the men's pair coming as well, that is something that the women's squad will respond to, and they will be really looking at. They're very experienced scullers, even though they're very young, Rebecca and Debbie. They're very young, but they are very experienced. They've been on the track as juniors and they really have come a long way. But look how the New Zealand double have moved out in front. They have taken another length out of the field, and Germany are not going to be able to respond to this, but they are safely in silver medal position.
But I tell you, the Russians are really responding. The fight between themselves and Great Britain for that bronze medal, they are winning that now, Dan, because they are moving away from the British. The British, who've done well, the World Cup champions for the season, as a result of their consistency, have no answer to the Russians now, and they are comfortably in third place. But the Evers-Swindell sisters, Georgina and Caroline, are going to hold on to their title now. The further they go, the stronger they look now. Take nothing away from Boron and Opelt. They are having, without doubt, their best race of the season. They are really producing it when it matters. But you can see on the near side there, Romero and Flood, but they are not in the medals, because you can see the Russians, how much they've closed up in the last 500. But New Zealand take gold, Germany the silver, and Russia the third there, and the Russians 1:41.09 for the last 500 to get that close.
Yeah, the order didn't change actually from the start, but it was a great race going on despite that, and a very well-deserved win there for New Zealand.
Indeed, but who will be her partner? That's perhaps the most fascinating question. We'll have to wait till next season. But these two will be there.